morning. Can y'all hear me? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Can y'all hear me? I combed my hair this morning. I promise you I did. Okay. There we go. Anyway. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are here for Belle Collective, Season 7, Episode 5. Now, let me just go ahead and say this before I don't even know if this is going to be a regular review. It just might be a rant. But let me just go ahead and get this off my chest right before we get started. I'm sick of this. And I'm not saying I'm done. I'm going to probably keep reviewing the show. So I'm not about to sit here and lie and be like, I'm done. I'm not reviewing this show no more. But I am no longer going to review this show as if we are looking at reality. Carlos King, come here. You need a new production squad down in Jackson. And I hope this is not the same production squad that you are using for Stormy's spinoff, because they suck. And I know I'm not a professional. I know I'm not a producer. I ain't never did this in my real life, fake life, or in-between life. But I know good and I know bad. And I've been looking at reality TV long enough to know when production is good and when production is bad. And I'm not even going to blame the production on you, Carlos, because I know you're not hands-on and you're not down there day to day. But I'm going to blame you because you allowed this shit to go on television. This is the third season when we've said production is terrible. The third season. Because last season, I don't even know what that was. That wasn't even no season. That was an interlude. The only storyline that is real at this point that I feel like is real is Carrie and having to shut her restaurant down. I think that's some real stuff that's going on. I do not think that's fabricated for a storyline. Unfortunately, we know Tambra's dad, and that's not even a storyline, but I'm just saying we know that really happened, right? But I'm not using that as a storyline. And we know that Leticia and Latrice really were or are mad at each other. But the problem is, the reason why they mad at each other is on some bullshit. They're not even mad at each other for the reason why they're saying they're mad at each other on camera. They mad at each other over a bunch of bullshit behind the scenes that none of us are even going to know about. So even that, okay, sure, it's there, but it's bullshit. Marie tried to fake her way through a storyline last season and give us a love triangle that ain't nobody buy. So now you telling us you and Cedric broke up. Girl, we know nobody ever believed you and Cedric were back together. So you telling us that you and Cedric broke up don't mean nothing. Nobody was convinced that y'all broke up, that y'all got back together. And don't even get me started. We're going to get to Leticia and Glenn. I'm going to say their asses for last. Because we pick up this episode. We pick it up. They gave us the little tail end of the conversation down at Carrie's place. And basically, the long story short was the counselor, I guess, convinced Latrice and Leticia to meet outside of the group so that the two of them could just say what needs to be said without an audience. But I mean, without the group involvement, without the group putting their 2 cents in. Here's what's irritating me about this whole situation. I guess I am going to still be all over the place. But here's what's irritating. This is one little piece of hair, y'all. But here's what's pissing me off about this, or irritating me. It ain't pissing me off. About this little situation. Leticia keeps talking like, we got to save the collective. We got to save the collective. The collective is in trouble. The collective, what is the collective going to do if the collective falls apart? Who gives a fuck if the collective falls apart? You know why? Because the collective ain't doing shit. If y'all was still working on Ferris Street, if y'all had even if y'all had bought a building together and we're going to do a museum to Ferris Street, that could have been the backup plan to Leticia not being able to revitalize Ferris Street. The backup plan could have been, well, let's all together. Let's put all our money in. Let's so Gucci, when she was still on the show, find us a building and let's use that building to I'm sorry, I got distracted. Let's use that building to as a tribute.
Weeping now. His girlfriend looking around desperately.
let's do the building as a tribute to Ferris Street, since we can't revitalize and we can't build on Ferris Street. So let's buy a building and let's make it a museum to Ferris Street, and let's bring in the artifacts, and let's ask the community to donate artifacts and old family pictures and things like that. And let's do that. If they were working on a project together, then I could be like, oh, they need to save the collective because it's gonna fuck up this project. They're not doing anything. Who cares if they're friends? Because they're not friends. These women are not friends in real life. When the show is not filming, they are not hanging out together. They are not doing things together. They are not traveling together. Their families don't go to cookouts together. They are not friends. Carrie don't even fucking live there. So it would be different if there was a reason to. If there's no reason to save the collective, what you're really saying is we need to save this show. Because Carlos had already told us if we can't get our shit together, then he's not going to keep doing this. See, that's what's not being said. Y'all don't care about saving the collective. You're trying to save the show. Let's call a thing a thing. Let's call a thing a thing. Because Carlos already had to fly down there and sit down with y'all and tell y'all get y'all shit together. He already had to do it once, and he probably ain't going to do it twice. And y'all probably looking around at Love and Marriage Detroit and Love and Marriage DC going, ooh. Ooh. Because for some of y'all, it's the most money y'all have ever made. Even as little as Carlos pays, it's a good paycheck. And it's a good exposure for y'all to try to do something else. Let's call a thing a thing. So all of this, we got to save the collective. We got to save the collective. We got to save the collective. Oh, bullshit. Bullshit. Y'all, this one little piece of hair is getting on my nerves. Look, it just popped right back up. It popped right back up. I'm going to have to put some gel on it or something. That thing's getting on my nerves. It just keep popping up. Right, okay? Save that paycheck. And I ain't mad at you for trying to save your paycheck. But don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining talking about we got to save the collective. Because don't nobody care about that collective, including you, Leticia. You don't care nothing about this collective. You care about this paycheck. Because you're the first person I'm looking at when I say the most money you'd have never made. You the first person I'm looking at. Now, Carrie and her husband are having this conversation down to the brick and spoon. Carrie, I like this wig you had on, and I like this makeup. I don't know who did your makeup. I don't know who did your glam for this particular scene, but I do like that wig, and I do like that makeup. Now, I will say it did make your face look a little longer than it normally looks, but you have a long face, baby. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, that's like, there's some outfits I can put on that make me look a little slimmer, but girl, I'm fat. I mean, the fat is just there, okay? So sometimes I can wear outfits that make me look a little slimmer, you know. And so I feel like your face looked a little longer, but your makeup was beautiful. And I really did like that wig. I think maybe the wig made your face look longer because I think that long hair elongated your face, but you still look really nice. Now, you about to make a mistake, Carrie, because I ain't about to sit here and talk about the Brook and Spoon and what happened down at your little therapy session, child. I don't care. But let me say this to you. Your husband just came to you and told you he wants to step out on faith and he wants to start his own business. You made a mistake when you said, I support my husband and I trust my husband. I just don't think now is the right time. Carrie, this is where you have to step out on faith in your marriage. You say you trust your husband. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have to come to you with a business plan and y'all shouldn't have more conversations. That's not what I'm saying. And to his face, you said the right thing. Your body language didn't, but your words did. Because your body language said, oh, hell no. But your words didn't. But in your confessional, you were like, I don't know if this is the right time. I don't know about this part. You can't do that, baby. Carrie, you can't do that. This man is telling you he's learned the business and he's ready to step out on faith. You got to support that man. That's what marriage is about. And listen, it might not work, but hell, Brooke is what's this, with the thing, spoon and brick and spoon ain't working. Now you have other restaurants, but this particular one ain't working. And like he told you, what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't cut your losses? Sometimes you got to cut bait. And all I'm gonna say is, I feel like you need to be there. You need to support him. So on the flip side, if and when he needs your support, if it ain't going well and it ain't working, he gonna need you the same way you leaning on him right now. This man is this. You got this strong Black man that's telling you, I want to build something for my family that belongs to me. I want to create this generational wealth for my family that belongs to me. I don't want to keep making money for somebody else. And I got it. I know the business. I've been doing this. I can do this. Baby, you got to support your man. I don't feel like, we ain't talking about Glenn, who didn't have no plan, who didn't have no business, that just said he was going to go out and buy a box truck, which, do we even believe that story? But we'll put that over there. We ain't talking about Glenn. I don't think your husband is going to move that way. So you got to support him, Carrie. Don't make a mistake, baby. Don't make a mistake. Now, this next scene with Latrice going to the doctor about her fibroids, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you, I lost interest in this scene the minute the nurse came in there and knew Latrice's first name and didn't know who the hell her husband was. Because Latrice tried to make it seem like, yeah, we've been going through this and I've had fibroids before and I don't want to do this. And, and she made it seem like that her and Cliff was just in this together. And the nurse didn't even know who that man was. So I'm like, oh, I've never met you before. It's nice to see you. I lost interest in anything else that happened in that scene. Because once again, I was like, here we go with some manufactured bullshit. Latrice, you've been going to these doctor's appointments by yourself, but now all of a sudden you want to bring your husband. Why? Because y'all filming. And you want to make it look like something it's not. You want to present as if Cliff is so supportive and Cliff is there for you and blah, 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 blah. And this man ain't been to the doctor with you. The nurse didn't even know who this man was. I lost interest in that whole scene. That's it, because here we go again with this fake scene. But at the end of the day, I don't, as a woman who's been through that, it is a lot. I had 3 different procedures done as it relates to my fibroids and all that kind of stuff before I finally ended up having to have, the hysterectomy. So I understand it's not fun. It's a lot that goes into it. And then she gonna say this sometimes, y'all, sometimes I be watching these shows and I be thinking to myself, are they listening to what I'm listening to? Are they hearing what I'm hearing? Because I know I heard that nurse tell Latrice, you got to have this surgery because we believe that there's a connection between the fibroids and the blood clots. Was I not the only one that heard that? Am I wrong? Tell me if I didn't hear that. Did the nurse not say that they believe that there's a connection between those blood clots and the fibroids, and that's why they're recommending the surgery to get rid of the fibroids, because they believe that there's a connection? I just need y'all to tell me if I heard that right. What's up, Kenneth? Hey, Really B. I said, hey, Really B. Hey, Bama girl. I heard right. Oh, Kevin, if you're still here, Kevin, my bad, boo. We are doing Beyond the Gates immediately after this at noon. We'll be doing Beyond the Gates at noon, and it's on JB's channel. It's on JB's channel. So I saw Kevin drop down. Hey, Kenneth. Hey, boo. So then why in the hell did Latrice say, I'm just so stressed out because, they still don't know where the blood clots came from. was sitting here like, ain't that what the lady just said? Ain't that what the nurse just said? I was like, didn't the nurse just fucking say that's where the blood clots came from? Moving right along. Then Latrice asked him, should she sit down with Leticia? That man done told you need to sit down with Leticia because he want his friend back. He want Glenn back. Now, he going to play hard to get. I saw previews for next week. He playing hard to get in front of his wife, but he want his friend back. He done told you to sit down and talk to that woman because he know this whole situation is stupid. He know it's bullshit, and he know it's probably fabricated, if I'm being honest. The next scene was Leticia and this photo shoot. We're going to do that last. We're going to come back to the damn photo shoot. We're going to circle back around to the photo shoot. Now, Marie meets up with, why every week I can't remember that lady name. Hold on, don't say it. I'm going to think of it. Hold on. Oh, damn. What that lady name? Oh, what's that lady name? No, it's okay, Kevin. I meant to answer you. You not read it, but I was in the middle of a thought, and I meant to answer you. My bad, boo. No, you fine. Anyway, I can't think of her name. The Bring It On mama. But Marie meets with her down to one of her properties. And again, I keep telling y'all, I know a lot of people don't like Marie. I know a lot of people think Marie is fugazi, but Marie is the real deal. Marie is the real deal. Oh, did y'all also notice on this episode there was a lot of voiceovers? Did y'all peep that too? And it makes me wonder, why are we voiceovering? Was the sound really that bad? Or were y'all trying to change what people were saying? Selena, thank you, Raven. I don't know why I can remember that lady's name. Probably because she don't look like a Selena to me. I don't know. What up, Don? Hey, boo. But did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that it was a lot of voiceovers in this episode? I don't know why I can't remember her name, y'all. I don't know. I did good last week. I remember last week, but anyway. But yes, Selena. Thank you, Selena. So, with that being said, I'm sorry. With that being said, it wasn't nothing with that conversation. I mean, they were just basically talking about Carrie, and Marie didn't feel like that Carrie, it was too soon to bring the women together, and she didn't like that, basically that's what they were talking about, to be honest. But y'all keep sleeping on Marie. Again, you don't have to like Marie. You really don't. And that's fine. But we're not going to keep disrespecting what Marie got going on. Marie said that was her her 11th facility that she's opening up or something like that. And I think that because of her mother, I think Marie really is really serious about this type of work. Because of her mother, because of how she grew up, because of her experience. Listen, I don't think, first of all, production. I think it's disrespectful that y'all don't put Dr. Marie Monroe anywhere on anything when it relates to this show. Whenever her name comes up, it should say Dr. Marie Monroe. In the introduction, it should say Dr. Marie Monroe. And I'm not saying make the ladies call her Dr. Marie or Dr. Monroe, because those are her friends. Well, her friends in air quotes. But I feel like that woman has an earned PhD. It's not honorary. She didn't go somewhere. She earned a PhD. And I just feel like we need to put some respect on that, in my opinion. And if it is there, I apologize because I don't see it. But is it there because I always fast forward through the opening credits. Does it say Dr. Marie Monroe in the opening credits? I always fast forward. But I don't believe her name comes up when it just says Marie. I feel like it should say doctor. True, I agree, Quake. Marie has to ask for it. You're right. You're right. But I just feel like as a Black woman that has a earned PhD, baby, because they give Wendy her things, even though you're right. Wendy asked for them, child. Wendy ain't gonna let you forget that she got a PhD. But still, anyway, moving right along. I just feel like I just feel like that should be more. And it's almost like when they do it as a joke. When they do say doctor, it's like a joke. Dr. Monroe, it's like, no, put some respect on that. But I agree. You're right, Quake. She has to ask for it as well. I agree. We have a scene with Carrie and her business partner where they have to close down. They've made the decision to sell Brick and Spoon. And if they can't sell it, they're gonna just close it down. And I believe it's real. I believe that there's a real struggle there. Like she said, I don't want to let these people down. All the people that poured into us, all the people, this is real. This is real. And I think with business owners, that's always a hard thing when the business doesn't work and you're affecting people's lives. People are losing their jobs and you're affecting people's livelihoods. So I feel like that was a real moment. I feel like that was a real conversation. That's a real storyline, and I hate it. I feel her on that because like she said, basically in order for them to keep that restaurant open, one of them would have to just be there full time. One of them would just have to be there full time. And neither one of them are in a position to do that because they would have to eat that payroll. As long as they have to pay somebody to manage the restaurant, that's just adding to their payroll that they can't afford. So for all y'all people down there in Jackson that didn't go down to the Brick and Spoon, no, I mean I can't blame people for not going down there. I mean if it wasn't popping, it wasn't popping. I think somebody in my chat said that the original owners had kind of ran the restaurant in the ground and they took over and they renovated it and stuff. But once a restaurant gets a bad reputation, it's hard to go back. Even when it's under new management, even when they say, oh, it's new management, it's new owners, come down, give us a second try. In Mobile, I'm sorry, it's in Mobile. It's in Mobile. Thank you. Even when you rebrand, it's hard for people to get back. You go to a restaurant once, twice, maybe even 3 times. After that, it's a bad. It's a bad. You can't. No. Yeah, she said her other locations are doing fine. It's just that location. But what somebody was telling me that the original owners of that location, that restaurant wasn't good, and they renovated it, they redid it. But again, it's just hard once you've gotten once you've taken a restaurant out of your Rolodex. You know how when you with your friends and you like, oh, let's go get something to eat, and y'all start going through all the different restaurants. Once you take a restaurant out of your Rolodex of, oh, let's go get something to eat, and y'all don't think about that particular restaurant anymore, it's hard to put it back in. It's hard to say, oh, they say it's under new management. Y'all want to give it a shot? Most people are going to be like, nah, we'll go somewhere else. Because if you've had enough of a bad experience, whether it's the food, whether it's the customer service, whether it's the location, whatever the situation is, it's hard to change people's minds. It's very, very hard to change people's minds. It just is. Biscuits and bullets come to mind. What's up, dear forms? Then we have this scene with Selena and Latrice. Selena, girl, how many jobs do you have? Girl, you got the storefront, you make the jewelry, you trying to get back into the Belle's bondsman, you a bartender. Girl, how many jobs do you have, Selena? And let's be clear, I ain't mad at you for having more jobs. I'm not mad at you for having 5 jobs. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But girl, what is going on? Oh my goodness. Latrice agrees to sit down and have a conversation with Leticia, so they can try to clear the air, whatever. let me say this, because the conversation between her and Leticia, because like I said, we're gonna do Glenn last. We're gonna circle back around to his ass. But the conversation with Leticia and Latrice, if this weren't for a television show that I know y'all gonna be mad at each other next week again, like her husband said, I probably would be like, that was a really good, I really like that conversation. I like the fact that, Latrice was like, look, I don't even know where to begin. I like the fact that they said, listen, what is their one thing? Oh, I know it was. Don, I know it was chopped and screwed. Hey everybody. Hey, what's up? Hey, Malik. If it wasn't for the fact, like I said, that this conversation was so chopped and screwed. I mean, not chopped and screwed. For a television show, I like the fact that Latrice was like, what's the one thing you don't want me to bring up again? Like, what's the one thing you don't want me to say again that we could just put it in the can, let bygones be bygones? And Leticia was like, that I called your employees, because I didn't. I did not contact your employees. So can we put that in the can? And then Latrice said, can we put in the can that I set you up? Now, the one thing I can appreciate is that Latrice finally fucking apologized. See, Latrice, all of this, let's just pretend like what happened was real. Because, again, it's way more to what happened at Latrice's house than what we saw. But let's just pretend like what we saw is what we saw. Latrice, all of this shit could have been avoided had you just apologized. All you had to say last year is what you said in this conversation, which was, I really, truly did not like what went down at my house. I didn't have anything to do with it. And I'm really sorry that it brought back up the insecurities in your marriage, and it brought back up a lot of that stuff. I am sorry. Now, both of them hesitated to agree to not bring it up again. And in my mind, because both of them was lying. Because Latrice, you gonna bring it up again because you truly believe that woman reached out to your employees. And Leticia, you gonna bring it up again because you would rather blame everybody else except for yourself when it comes to your husband. Okay. But I can appreciate the conversation. Why did Latrice have to apologize? For exactly what she apologized for. Because here's the thing, and this is my opinion. If I have an event at my house, I have a cookout at my house, and one of the women at the cookout that I knew before they came to the cookout, because let's be clear, Latrice knew this information before Amber, what's her name? Amber, before she showed up. Latrice knew this information. So we're not going to sit here and act like Latrice was blindsided, because she wasn't. That woman had told her, oh yeah, because Glenn was all in my DMs and da-da-da-da-da. So you invited these people to your house who you know claim your husband was in her DMs and her husband was trying to get with her. And during that event, it comes up and it becomes an issue to the point where your friend over here and her husband are right back where they started as it relates to their relationship and their marriage and them trying to work things out. Now, that is what production gave us. Now, whether you believe that that's what happened or not, that is what production gave us. Latrice doesn't have to apologize for what her friend did. But what we're also not going to forget is we're not going to pretend like them questions that her staff asked didn't lead to that. Those questions were a setup. Now, who set them questions up? But those questions weren't an accident. Have you ever been sexually attracted to somebody else in the room and you got a room full of couples? That was a shady ass question to begin with, regardless of whether it was specifically meant to set up the Glenn and what the girl name is. We're going to call her A, because I don't think Amber is right, but we're going to call her A. So Latrice apologized for the shit going down to her house. Latrice apologized and was like, it wasn't my intent, and I'm really sorry. Because at the end of the day, it happened at your house. It happened at your event, and you created the storm that blew up. You invited the woman that you know been telling you that this man been sliding in her DMs, and then you played a shady ass game that the people you pay, that's on your payroll, whether they did it without your permission or not, they on your payroll. Amanda, thank you. You told them to create this, you told them to create the game. And whether they came up with these questions on their own or they magically, they fell out the sky, those questions led to that moment. Yeah, she owed Leticia an apology. Now, she can't apologize for Amanda's actions, and she can't apologize for Glenn's actions, but she can acknowledge that it happened at her place and that the storm was created, and she can apologize that it happened. I do believe she owed Leticia an apology as her friend. Now, the thing is, it's all about whether you believe Latrice's side of the story or Leticia's side of the story. See, Raven, so again, like I said, I can only go by I'm going by what they showed me. Now, you say production set it up, then she can still apologize. Because production still put her in the middle of it. And again, if she had apologized off camera, it would have never been a need to apologize on camera. Because let's be clear, we all in this together. Leticia, you know production that made you do shit and set shit up that you didn't want, and you know that production be setting stuff up. Baby, production put those questions out there. Production did that. But you could have pulled Leticia aside last year. You could have pulled her aside as soon as it went down. You could have called her that night and said, girl, you know that was production. You know I didn't do that. You know I wouldn't set you up like that. Because Leticia know the game too. So that's all I'm saying. I hear what you're saying, Raven, that production did it. But even if production did it, call that girl and be like, girl, you know that wasn't me. But for you, Latrice, to allow it to be boom, 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 to the point where we are now, I do think she owed that woman an apology. Now, do I think that Leticia was green to the situation? No, absolutely not. No, Glenn didn't create what happened. Amanda created what happened. Now, was Glenn in Amanda's? But what happened was on Amanda. See, and this is what we're gonna disagree, and that's okay. You know, I love you, Raven. But Glenn created what happened. I mean, Amanda created what happened because there was no reason for Amanda to bring that up. Now, was Glenn wrong for sliding in that woman's DMs and being inappropriate? Absolutely. But Amanda chose to bring it up in that moment in front of everybody. She didn't have to do that. That's on Amanda. That's my opinion. I know shit all the time. That I sit in rooms all the time where I know where A plus B equals C. It ain't my place to bring it up. I've been in rooms before where somebody's husband done hit on me. I don't feel like it's my place to bring it up in the middle of a barbecue. Again, let's pretend like production didn't do it. Let's put production to the side. Amanda chose to bring that up in that setting in front of everybody. Amanda did that. Now, did Glenn give Amanda the ammunition? Sure she did. Sure he did. Yeah, Glenn gave Amanda the ammunition. Absolutely did. But Amanda chose to pull the trigger. That's how I look at it. But if we're going to go back to what you originally said, it wasn't Amanda or Glenn, it was production. If we're going to go back to what you originally said, you said it was production. So let's go back to the beginning. It was production. Now, behind the scenes, I've heard a variety of things. Behind the scenes, I've heard that Leticia already knew, that I've heard that because after that scene, from my understanding, Leticia went to production and was basically like, I don't want her filming anymore. So she tried to ice Amanda out. Like, I've heard all kinds of things that happened after the fact. But again, it's all messy. And that's why I say, yes, Latrice, you you can't sit back and play innocent. It's all messy. All of y'all are fucking messy. And all of y'all are complacent in the shit. So for you to get on your high horse and act like you're above any of it, especially since you and Latrice was in cahoots together. I mean, Latrice, you and Leticia, y'all was in cahoots together. Y'all did shit together. Y'all was in cahoots to get rid of Akeisha and So Gucci. Hello? Amanda, Leticia, and her was texting back and forth. Glenn told Amanda that she was going to be on the show. I believe they set the whole story up to have a storyline, and that's my opinion. Amanda, Glenn was sitting in the black car down to Latrice grand opening. They not slick if you ask me. Wait a minute. Amanda said Leticia and her was texting back and forth. Glenn told Amanda that she was going to be on the show. I believe they set that whole story up to have a storyline, and that's my opinion. But you know what, Don, at this point, because I've heard so many different versions of the story, at this point, I don't even care anymore. But I think, that's all the more reason why Latrice and Leticia, and again, it's all for the show, y'all. It's all for the damn show. But that's another reason why I feel like Latrice and Leticia But anyway, the way that it went down, without just going by what happened. Let me just go by what happened. The way that it went down, in my opinion, what we saw on camera, in my opinion, Latrice did owe Leticia the apology of, it wasn't my intention. I didn't set it up. I'm sorry. Like, that wasn't what, But neither here nor there. Now, what I do like is the way that the conversation ended. What time is it? Okay, I got a few minutes. I do like the way the conversation ended, where basically both of them saying, look, we ain't perfect. We still got a long way to go. This was just a first conversation. We are not walking out of here skipping and holding hands. Like, we still got some time. We still have some time. But I like the fact that they didn't walk out of there acting like everything was fixed and everything was perfect. I appreciate that. Let me take a sip real quick. This scene with Leticia, and I call her Leticia because that's how Marie say her name, y'all. I know it's Latrice, whatever it is. I say Leticia because maybe that's how Marie say it. Anyway, this whole scene with the photo shoot, I don't believe not near part of this scene. In my opinion, this scene was as fake as that wig that Leticia had on. There is nothing about this scene that I believe to be true. And let me start from the beginning and work my way back. We start with her getting her hair and makeup done. And the executive producer shows up. Excuse me, y'all. And the executive producer shows up. It's not a big deal that the executive producer is there. It's the photo shoot for the show, right? No big deal that he's there. Leticia makes a joke with him about, my husband my husband said that you wouldn't be doing all of this for free, that you want something from me. You want something from me? Huh? You want something from me? And then we come to find out that man is married. He was like, I got a whole wife. Like, no. If I believe this to be true, let's pretend for a minute I believe this to be true. Leticia, you know your husband. He wasn't playing. Why are you making a joke of it? Why aren't you sitting down and having a conversation with this man saying, look, I would like for you to sit down with my husband. Maybe you could bring your wife. Maybe we can go to dinner and we can have a conversation. Maybe it'll make him feel a little more comfortable knowing that you're married, you're happily married. I'm happily married. Maybe we can have a conversation because he's really concerned that, you are doing this for nefarious reasons. See, you're playing. You're playing, and you know your husband ain't playing. And you know your husband. So, you know, again, this is if I believe all this to be true, okay? This is if I believe all this to be true. So we get into so then Shantae show up. And at this point, I just feel like whenever I see Shantae, I just feel like mess is coming. Whenever I see Shantae, I just feel like mess is coming. So Shantae is there, and Leticia says, well, you know, Shantae came down here to, you know, to support me, you know, because, you know, and she couldn't even come up with a good lie. She said, because, you know, I mean, because I need support. Girl, what you need support for? It's a photo shoot. You have done 50 million photo shoots. In the time that you have been on this show, you have done 50 million photo shoots. You have had to do a photo shoot, if not every season, every other season. I'm sure you've done photo shoots for other things that you've done. Girl, doing a photo shoot should be second nature to you. What you need Shantae there for? So you doing this photo shoot, and here come Glenn talking about we still share our locations. So, you know, I decided I needed to pop up. The reason why I don't believe none of it. But the thing, when Glenn showed up, Glenn couldn't get that smile off of his face. He couldn't stop smiling. That's how I knew he wasn't really mad about nothing. And I know some people smile when they mad. I get it. I know some people smile when they mad. But baby, he couldn't stop grinning and smiling. Glenn, what you doing here? Girl, if you really didn't want him to show up, stop sharing your location with him. How about that? This man, you said this man done put a tracker on your car before. This man popped up on you when you were supposed to be, we know that was fake, getting an apartment that time you was with Marie. So you know this man will pop up. So you just gonna give him the roadmap to find you? Okay. Then nobody looked surprised to see Glenn, which tells me that y'all knew he was coming. Or at least you didn't think he wasn't supposed to be there. Because nobody looked surprised to see Glenn, including Leticia. So the executive producer, I feel like he did what he was supposed to do. He came over, introduced himself, and shook Glenn's hand. Glenn said, man, you know, I feel like I should be involved in all of this. So any type of paperwork or anything that come through, I need to be CC'd on everything. I need to be CC'd on everything. Hold on a second, y'all. Leticia, that's when you were supposed to step in and say, Glenn, let me talk to you. You were supposed to stop right as soon as he started talking about I need to be CC'd. I need to be because again, if you're really serious about keeping your business separate from Glenn, and you really serious, that's when you pull him to the side. It shouldn't have even went no further. You should have said, I need a minute. I need a minute with my husband. Right, he was mic'd. Right, Don, he was mic'd. Exactly. So when the manager hears Glenn say, I need to be CC'd on everything. I need to be CC'd on everything. He comes over there and he's like, I'm sorry, what you talking about? And then immediately him and Glenn get into it because basically Glenn is like, what you doing over here? Like, you ain't got nothing to do with this. I'm talking to my wife and I'm talking to the producer. You don't have nothing to do with this. Now, in the real world, first of all, Glenn already knew that man. In the real world, he does have something to do with it because he's her manager. So he does have something to do with, what do you mean I need to CC you on everything and I need to loop you in? That's not what my client told me. My client didn't tell me to CC you on anything and to loop you in on anything. So he wasn't wrong for approaching and trying to figure out, wait a minute, what's going on here? Because I'm the manager. Everything comes through me because I'm her manager. So if there's somebody else that's a part of the conversation, I need to be a part of that conversation. The manager wasn't wrong for that, in my opinion. So then Glenn starts talking to him crazy, and the two of them get to arguing. Now, here's another reason why I didn't believe none of this. Because this whole time, everybody's smiling. The manager was smiling. Glenn was smiling. The executive producer was smiling. Everybody, all those men were smiling. All those men were smiling. Not near one of them looked mad. Then the manager, see, you would have been fired that day. And you wouldn't have been fired because you got into an argument with my husband. You'd have been fired because you were being childish in the argument with my husband. That's why you would have got fired. When he started talking about some, they started making like your mama jokes. I mean, but like those silly, like them jokes, like, grow up. That's when I was like, because at that point you were no longer carrying yourself as a manager. Now you playing. And I'm not playing. Again, this is if I believe any of this is true. But that's another reason why I didn't believe this was real. Because now y'all playing. Now y'all making, y'all making mama jokes at each other, calling each other. You talking about something, all right, chocolate, all right, sexual chocolate. I was like, I'm sorry, what? Sexual chocolate? Sexual chocolate? What? I knew then. I said, oh no, we playing games. We playing games. Then they all go outside, right? Because production was like, oh, y'all gotta go outside. Y'all gotta get out of this building. Y'all gotta go outside with this, which lets me know that this went on way longer than what we saw. If somebody said y'all gotta get out the building, this lets me know this whole situation went on way longer than what we saw. The last thing that let me know that this was some bullshit, and then you got Leticia. Girl, the photo shoot is over. You might as well let that makeup run, honey. That photo shoot is over. First managers Leticia, Marie, Drew, Cynthia, used to, and a few Love and Hip Hop. Well, first would have been fired that day. That's another reason why I don't believe this. He knew he was filming a scene. He knew he's been around reality TV a long time, and he knew he was filming a scene. Because there's nowhere in the world that a man that I'm paying to manage me is going to, I don't care what me and my husband stand. I don't care what's going on between me and my husband. All that, calling him chocolate and all that stuff. Nah, bruh. No. But here's when I knew. When I knew that this whole scene was fake. When Glenn ran from the steps of that building through that parking lot, got 2 inches from first face, and stopped. When First stood there with the book bag on his shoulder and didn't even flinch, the whole time Glenn ran at him. He didn't even drop the book bag and get in a fighting stance. He sat there laughing like, I already know you're not going to hit me. And you saw when Glenn did that little fake swing, he just kind of did the lean back. Baby, that man didn't even drop his book bag. Now, if any of y'all have ever been around a fight situation, the fact, it'd be different if they were all standing in each other's face and Glenn tried to get through. The man had a running start. He had momentum. That man ran from the steps of that building through the parking lot. And you mean to tell me he couldn't get to that man? Glenn, as little as Glenn is, and when I say little, I mean he's not a fat dude or whatever. He's a little muscular dude. You mean to tell me them 2 or 3, you mean to tell me Shantae and 2 production assistants were able to hold him back with the momentum he had running? And the fact that First didn't even drop his book bag and act like that man was going to come and get him. The fact that he stood there with the book bag on his shoulder like this and then did this. I said, I said they could have saved all this shit. They could have saved all of this shit. That was as believable as Kenya saying she don't wear wigs. Right. I said, y'all could have kept this whole scene. There was nothing about that scene that I believe from the beginning to the end. Not a one. Not even Leticia's fake ass. Girl, bye. See, and that's why I started my review the way I'm going to end my review. Carlos, you need to come down there. You need to find a whole new production team because this production is terrible. It is horrible. The women are allowed to create these bullshit ass storylines and we are ignoring the real shit. I'm sorry. I know some people say, well, on a reality show, you have a right to protect your family and protect certain things. To a certain degree, I agree. To a certain degree, I agree. But I also feel like if you sign up to be on a reality show, the whole point is to follow your reality. The whole point is to follow your reality. And I don't believe none of Glenn and Leticia's story. And I don't believe none of Latrice and Cliff's story. And those are your stars. Those are your anchors. Those are your OGs. Because Tamra been there from the beginning, but we know Tamra ain't never brought shit to the table. Those are your anchors. Those are your stars. And we don't believe nothing. When I say we, I'm going to speak for y'all. We don't believe shit that either one of them are bringing to us. We know that Latrice and Cliff is playing in our face because we see on social media and in newspaper articles that there's other shit going on down there with the two of them as it relates to their restaurant and other things going on. And we already know that we ain't talking about none of that. We know this bullshit with Leticia and Glenn is some bullshit. We know it is. And this is the problem with all reality shows right now. It's so manufactured. Everybody wants to curate their image. Everybody wants to curate their reputation. And that's why we get so many duds like these last couple of seasons on a lot of these reality shows, the new people. That's why it's so many duds, because nobody is coming on the show being authentic anymore. Everybody is coming on the show trying to curate an image. And that's why the genre is the genre of this type of reality show is sort of just gone. Because nobody is going to do, like, that's why I love me some damn New Jersey. Because, baby, New Jersey was some real shit. Baby, those women come on camera with no makeup on. Baby, Marge is good for coming on camera with no glam, okay? Marge is good for sitting there talking to her husband with not a damn stitch of makeup on. Dolores talked about her cosmetic surgeries. Yep, I had a butt lift, a tummy tuck. I got my nose done. I did this, I did that. I sure did. We had Teresa. Hell, we don't even need to go down Teresa's resume, child. We know what Teresa had going on her resume. You know what I'm saying? The Manzos. Caroline didn't do a whole lot of glam either. She was the anti-reality star. She was a little heavy set. She didn't wear a lot of makeup. She was, you know what I mean? Like, but these were real women that let us know what was going on in their real world. We got real stories from these moles. When are y'all going to be honest that Married to Medicine has become fake too? Well, maybe you must not look at my reviews, because I think I've been very honest about Married to Medicine. I mean, you might not agree, but yeah. So. The formula is tired because production has allowed the formula to be tired. And I get it. I mean, again, I get 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. I feel like production has allowed these women to produce storylines. But because you want to keep them on the show and you want to keep them happy, you allow it to happen. And because they probably don't have shit else to give us. Look at it, Giselle. Y'all allow, and I know I'm skipping the show, y'all allow Giselle to create a whole SA storyline against another husband on the show because she don't have a storyline. Anyway, y'all. But that is Belle Collective. The schedule for today, I'm literally getting ready to go over to JB's house right now. So Beyond the Gates is gonna be at JB's house. If you're not subscribed to JB, it's JB Says What, JBSAYZ Says What, WHAT. I'll share it on my community wall. If you're not already subscribed, you should be getting subscribed. Because y'all know we alternate weeks. 1 week is on my channel, next week is on his channel. So we about to talk about Beyond the Gates at 12 o'clock. I think at 6:30 we're gonna be doing what's that show? Chasing Atlanta with Evie and El Teddy. We'll be doing that at 6:30. Somewhere in there, I'll do Love and Marriage Huntsville. I don't know what time, and I'm going to do a tribe meeting today. That's what I know I can. Promise is a strong word. That's what I know I'm gonna try to promise. But that's what we got going on. We have a tribe meeting, baby. We got to talk about Swiss Beats. We got to talk about Carissa Shields, baby. We got some things to talk about in our tribe meeting today, honey. With that being said, y'all, I'm out of here. I will talk to y'all later. Mwah! Peace.